Hey guys, Blevins here, and I wanted to just preface this episode with the fact that I didn't really explain what the actual show is. Normally I'm going to be doing a little, 10-second intro of what the game is for new viewers. Obviously, everyone's a new viewer because this is the first episode. No one knew what it was. Basically, if you've ever seen Around the Horn on ESPN, that's essentially what this show is. Basically, I'm going to be the main host of the show. I'm going to be the ringleader, so to speak. We're going to have 4 guests on and go through a slurry of topics. They're all going to be giving their input on those topics, and I'm going to be arbitrarily assigning them points. And then at the end, we're going to have a winner. The points mean nothing. It's just for fun. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Around the Payload, Episode 1, the pilot, brought to you by Highnoon Podcast. I am your host, the Blevins, and with me today, we've got a ragtag group of guests. We've got Blazing Bob from Watchpoint Radio, Prepare to Attack, and the Overwatch League recap. What's up, Bob?
Hey.
We've got Taco, co-founder of Overwatch League news site, overwatchscore.com. What's up, Taco?
Hey, how's it going?
We've got, as many of you Highnoon Podcast fans know, we've got Asmith, the booker, the man, the myth, the legend. What's up, Asmith?
Hey, not too much, burn blue.
And you know what? You're starting it off, Asmith. You already have -1. And last but not least, we've got Thorn, the host of the Open Division Quick Play and a gold level pleb. What's up, Thorn?
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
All right, so this is the pilot episode, so I'm just going to preface this with it's going to be a little sloppy. So sit back, relax, and try to have a little fun. We're going to start it off, and I don't know, we're just going to run through it. So let's go.
Round 1, capture the objective.
So round 1, we're going to start with the Florida Mayhem. Many people coming into the preseason thought that they're really not up to snuff with a lot of the other Overwatch League teams, as they only have 6 players, and they haven't really they kind of crumbled at the end of contenders. I myself have thought that they are underrated. But Bob, what do you think? Are the Florida Mayhem, where are they at? Are they overrated, underrated? What are your thoughts?
I think they're underrated just because of Tavik. Tavik can make or break a team, and I think as long as they have him, they're going to do okay.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Taco, what are your thoughts on the Mayhem?
Super overrated. I think they crashed at the end of contenders when you did the when Highnoon did the power rankings a couple weeks ago. I had them at 11th, and I got crucified for it. Then they bombed out in the preseason. I just published our power rankings again today. I put them at 12th, dead last. Tavik's great, but everybody can just focus on shutting him down, and they have nothing they can do. They can't change anything up. They can't rotate their roster when people are slumping, and they're going to have to wait 2 full sections of the first season before they can sign anybody else to start practicing.
Mm-hmm.
That's not looking good for Florida.
A. Smith, I see you're shaking your head.
Yeah, I definitely got to say they're definitely overrated, but I wouldn't say they're dead last. I mean, have you seen Shanghai Dragons play? I mean, come on. Now, you got to say, though, that obviously the reason they're so overrated is because they have no flexibility. I mean, they have 6 players, and other than Tavik, none of them are really that flexible. Logix is really a tracer. I mean, that's his big claim to fame. His Widow was not that good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was average at best, and that's not going to help carry. Tavik can't carry this team.
And Thorn, what are your thoughts of where are the Mayhem sit in your book?
With most of the power rankings that I've seen, they're bottom of the barrel. I'm going to say they're a little underrated.
Mm-hmm.
Not much, though. Not very much. I wouldn't put them 11th. I wouldn't put them 12th.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that they're going to do better than the Shanghai Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what's going on with the Fusion. Right now, I got them definitely placed above the Fusion because we don't even know if the Fusion is going to have a team to play come the opening of the season. Just saying. But, I mean, yeah, if Tavik pops off, forever lives Pluppy, he's gonna do work. So, come mid-season, I could see them advancing. I don't see them getting anywhere higher than middle of the pack, but I definitely don't see them being anywhere at the bottom.
Okay, so we've got the full Monty for that one. We've got dead last in middle of the pack, although no one's putting him as high as I was. So you all lose points for that. But I'm too lazy to remove the points, so let's just move on. So we're in the midst right now of a little bit of a scandal, the continuation of a scandal with XQC, which brings the greater question of pro players' responsibilities, in game, out of game, in the league, on stream. Thorn, we'll start with you. What do you think about this whole XQC shenaniganry, and what are the pro players' responsibilities, both in and out of game?
As far as the pro players' responsibilities, no one asks to be a role model. Mm-hmm. Like, it just happens. If you're doing something that someone can look up to, you're going to be a role model for somebody regardless. Mm-hmm. So if you're on a professional team, which all of these guys are, I know they're young, but you're a professional. There's kids out there. There's other adults out there that strive to be as good as you and look up to try to do what you're doing. So you have a small responsibility to, not act like a fool. Mm-hmm. Don't go into game's throat. Don't go in and, troll people. Don't false report. Because there are people watching, and a lot of them are younger kids. So, they definitely have a responsibility to maintain a role model, outlook mm-hmm. for the fans.
Gotcha. Asmith, what are your thoughts on it?
I'm sorry, but you can't say that they're all role models because, look, you've got NFL players like Terrell Owens, who he's built a brand of himself. He's built his own brand by being the bad guy, mm-hmm. and that's good. That's good for the sport. Every sport needs good guys and bad guys.
I didn't say
bad guy, but you got it.
I didn't say no bad guys though. You can be a bad guy and not be a complete tool either. So just watch how you do it.
Yeah.
Have you seen like Ocho Cinco or come on, look at these guys. Michael Jordan himself was not that good of a person. Let's be real.
True.
But he's one of the largest role models to ever play the game of basketball.
True.
And you can't dispute that.
They enjoyed his play style, not how he is as a person. People overlook that.
Well, and everyone knows that LeBron James is the greatest of all time. But without going into too much, Taco, what are your thoughts on the whole?
Sure. I think it's less about being a role model. Like, I think XQC's fun. He gets a lot of people watching him. I think it's more that Big Brother is watching. Blizzard has significant financial interests vested in competitive being an entertaining experience for the bulk of their player base. So there's these pros are now their highest visibility people on their streams. So if they can kind of like bust these people while they're doing something that they want high visibility into saying that they're shutting down, particularly with the PR they've been getting around the competitive, how fun or how toxic competitive is, you just watch your back. Like, role models aside, like they are going to come in and get you. They need competitive to be fun. They need players to think that it's getting better, and the highest profile people are the easiest targets.
Good point. Bob, what are your thoughts? Wrap us up with the pro players.
Yeah, well, they are, whether they like it or not, they are role models. That's the way it is. They're in the public light, and if you don't want to do that, then don't play Overwatch professional. And if you're going to take money from the Overwatch League, you need to live up to their standards. This isn't a democracy. This isn't what's fair and what's not. It's what they say to do, period.
For sure. It at the end of the day, Blizzard is the one who's writing the checks.
Yep. They are your boss, and they tell you what to do. And if you don't like that, you quit. True
story. And you definitely don't want to bite the hand that feeds you, even if it's, it trickles down. It all trickles down from Blizzard for sure. So keeping in with the, I guess the Dallas Fuel, we'll get a little more airtime here, but we've seen Dallas Fuel right now is the only team with an official direct sponsor that's on their actual jersey. We've got the Jack in the Box red logo basically right in the middle of the jersey. But Bob, we'll start with you. What do you think about it? What do you think about the Dallas Fuels jerseys and that Jack in the Box logo location? And what do you think about those logos coming in on other teams in the future?
I think the jersey looks awesome. I think the Jack in the Box right in the middle of the chest above the team name is a little obnoxious, and I could have dealt with it on a sleeve or on a shoulder or down at the bottom, maybe even underneath, but yeah, that's a bad place.
Yeah, for sure. Taco, what are your thoughts on that delicious Jack in the Box logo?
So I generally love the Dallas Fuels branding. Got a chance to meet their owner and some of their management at BlizzCon. They're super bright folks and very nice to talk to. Aesthetically, I do not love the placement of the logo. If you're looking at kudos to them for getting the first jersey sponsorship. If you're looking at Overwatch League trying to be kind of the next big sport in the world, let's look to other big sports with jersey sponsorships. Let's look to World Soccer and say we missed here. We just missed on that one, saying that the only place we can put it is like right below your chin for some reason.
Yeah, definitely an interesting placement for sure. Asmith, you're burning blue, man. What do you think about the jerseys?
Okay, I understand why they did it there, because on those face cameras, that is going to be right there where you see it every time. However, it's awful when you're wearing a jersey and it's right there. I get why in-game jerseys, but in merchandise jerseys where you're going to buy it, I don't want it right there. Put it somewhere else. They're going to see it regardless. I mean,
really good point, though.
Yeah, you can't have it. I mean, it's right there. That's why it's there, so you can see it in one of those face cameras. But to put it on when you're doing a merchandising, you need to put it somewhere else.
For sure, definitely agree with you on that one. Thorn, wrap it up. What's the what's the thought process on the Jack in the Box logo?
I mean, we all knew that the logos were going to come, but literally, like Taco said, right below the chin, it's a horrible location as far as a fan goes. But Asmith points out it's on the camera. Every time they do the face camera, it's genius because it's going to get the most airtime. But when I buy the jersey, I'm going to feel like an idiot walking down the street with a Jack in the Box directly below my goatee. Like, it's something that I don't want to really do, but it wouldn't deter me from purchasing a jersey. That's for sure.
Well, and we are living in a time where long beards are very popular. So what's going to happen? We're going to get covered up.
Bob gets the pander points for sure. But that is the end of round one. We'll do a little recap here. We've got Bob, who just got his pander points right up to 10. Taco in the lead at 14, followed by Thornrain at 12, and Asmith is at 11 points. So definitely anyone's game here going into round two.
Round two. Capture the objective.
So I want to start off with it's been kind of it's kind of died off recently because I think everyone's kind of become acclimated to it, but I still want to touch on it. The import a full Korean team over into Overwatch League. Obviously, the regionality has been one of the main driving factors for Overwatch League and starting Overwatch League and running it the way they are. What are your thoughts on why they? What are your thoughts on? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? What are your thoughts on importing full Korean roster and sometimes two full rosters? Just copy paste it over into the Overwatch League. Asmith, we'll start with you.
They picked them because they're the best teams, and let's be real. In everybody's power rankings, they're the top teams right now. Those three teams are the three teams to beat, along with like Dallas Fuel. So obviously, it was a smart decision. Did they alienate their fan base? Maybe a little bit, but winning overrides that every time. Literally every time you win a championship, you're going to roll with them. I don't care who they have.
Good point. Taco, your thoughts?
I think that you're not going to alienate your fan base. It might be a little weird at first, but really, like, if you're from London, you're not going to start rooting for some other random team in the US or Korea by and large, just because the London team's mostly Korean. You want to follow people who are going to be strong. If you look at other, I call out world soccer a lot as another thing where people are moving around, a lot of international players. Maybe someday we'll see a homegrown player limit or homegrown player minimum like we see in England in the Premier League, but there isn't that. You want to field the best team you possibly can. I think the biggest challenge about it is acclimating those players to leaving Korea and interacting with other coaches and other teams. So if you look at London, like, they've got a mix of coaches, teams, of players from different teams. That's going to be way harder than winning over the London fans. If they can win games, they'll win over fans.
True. Thorn Rain, what are your thoughts on the full Korean teams?
I'm not a fan of it, only because every other major sport doesn't just import a team. Like, I know esports are different, but it's gonna happen in esports, and you can't get around it. They did bring the teams in because they are the best teams, and we saw in the preseason Shanghai Dragons just absolutely dominating. London Spitfire, kind of had a misfire and lost to the Gladiators, brought the Gladiators up in power rankings. So it's not necessarily that it's a bad thing. And I don't think it's going to alienate, because, like Taco said, you start winning games, everybody's going to love you. They're going to follow. You're going to get fans. But I don't personally like it, because to me it feels like the easy way out and the easy way to a championship, in something that every other sport doesn't have the option of doing.
Gotcha. And Bob, are you if you're an Overwatch League owner, are you importing a full Korean team?
So many people are kind of up in arms, but I don't get it, because you can't really say no other sport does it, because this is just a league beginning. I mean, we haven't seen a new football league since the XFL, and so we don't really know how they would handle that. And so I think it's just smart to buy an already proven commodity and then build from there, rather than throwing a whole bunch of pieces from other commodities and trying to make something, from scratch. So I think it's extremely smart to just buy the whole team. They all speak the same language. I don't see a problem with it at all.
Okay, are we gonna just let this go? I mean, Thornrain said the Shanghai Dragons were dominating. What?
Did I?
Yeah, you definitely did.
I
docked a point from you because I figured you meant Seoul Dynasty, but since
I didn't mean the Seoul Dynasty.
But
because I have the Shanghai Dragons at the bottom.
I'm reaching a couple points over to him, so we're definitely going to have some life drain points, some life drain point action in this game. So moving along, obviously the preseason, everyone, at least on this show, at least publicly facing, because you're going to get kicked off if you didn't, was super hyped about the preseason of Overwatch League. It was the first time we got to see Overwatch League, first time we got to actually see a lot of these teams play together, at least from the public side. The one thing that was a little bit weird that a lot of people have been talking about is it wasn't on Twitch. It was only on overwatchleague.com and mlg.com. So, Taco, what are your thoughts on the on Twitch getting left behind in the preseason?
It's just the preseason. Twitch has signed on for the league season, so we're going to see it there. I think it's mostly a factor of there's a lot of contractual details that go into these things. Blizzard wanted to work out a lot of kinks, and if you saw during the preseason, the games were great, but there were many kinks where somebody would win and it would be randomly say the match was over and some other team won. So there's a lot of little stuff like that where you don't need to really get into little details like that. They're really trying to tune their production, get folks used to playing there. It's not about maximizing viewership and draining every drop or getting every dollar. They're trying to get things ready so when the season kicks off, and it will kick off on Twitch as well, that it kicks off as strong as possible.
Good points for sure. Bob, what are your thoughts? Did you miss anything by not being on Twitch?
It was either a brilliant plan or an extremely dumb plan. So if the viewership was really high, which we don't know, then it was dumb not to have it on Twitch. But if it was really low, then hey, dodged a bullet. So that's all I can really see with that. If it wasn't on Twitch for the main season, I would think that's a complete fail, because you got to go where your audience is. You don't see, the NFL has their own channel now, but they just played on regular TV and other channels prior for a long time.
For sure. Thorn, did you miss not being able to spam Pog Champs and C9s in the chat?
I did not. I don't even pay attention to Twitch chat when I'm watching, because it spams so quick. There's no point in even trying to keep up with it. The video quality was good over on MLG.com. I watched it on both the OverwatchLeague.com and MLG. I did not use the app. I heard the app had some problems. I didn't have a problem on either site. We do know that it is going to be on Twitch. Everybody expects it to be on Twitch. Will I watch it on MLG over Twitch? Probably not. I'll still watch it on Twitch. But I thought that it was a good idea to have it on MLG to work out all of those issues. And then while they were doing that, take care of the contract with Twitch, because you know that there's a lot of money trading hands for that contract, and they wanted to make sure that everything was taken care of off screen before that contract was completed.
For sure. And Asmith, what were your thoughts on it not being on Twitch?
I think it is a missed opportunity. I think you hurt the fans. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I had that were spamming Twitter or anything like that, and they were like, where is the Overwatch League? It's supposed to be somewhere. Everybody looks for Twitch because Twitch is the standard. I mean, I watched it on MLG, but that's because I'm a hardcore. There hasn't been Overwatch since the World Cup, and there won't be until January, and so you're missing almost 2 months roughly of no Overwatch on Twitch at all, unless you're like looking at small little tournaments that are very minor. But I think you really hurt the fans total and but I get the money side of it. I just think you need to get it there. I mean, regardless of the funds, I think it needed to be there. MLG didn't have Chromecast, which really made it difficult for me to put it on my TV. I had to plug in my computer, and then it was a hassle to get it on my TV, and I think that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah, for sure. And not to mention the fact that MLG app literally exploded at the end of the last day, which I mean is known to happen on Twitch, but not super common. It'll definitely be interesting. I hope that they, not only that they, I think it's all but confirmed that they are going to be going to Twitch for the regular season, but I really hope that they push the Twitch and not you can go to Twitch, or you can go to OverwatchLeague.com, or you can go to MLG, and they're all separate, individual, not linked broadcasts. It just seems like that would be a bit of a miss there, but we'll have to wait and see. Last topic for this round is we had the players from the Shanghai Dragons were fined for account sharing. Now, obviously there's been some other issues that we'll talk about in the next section, but we've already kind of talked about XQC and what's happened with him, but this is a little bit of a different issue with the players' responsibilities. But is a fine enough for these players? Should they be banned? What are your thoughts on them? Bob, we'll start with you.
I think the fine was good. I think it was good that the team imposed the fine and not the league, so they jumped in front of it. I think a fine is fine for that type of change. I mean, the guy, both of them are top-notch players, and they dropped down a couple hundred SR on one of the people that would have been queuing. So it doesn't really hurt the community all that bad. It hurts the guys up top, but I think a fine was probably fine.
I think you said fine too many times there, so I'm going to dock you a couple points. Taco, what are your thoughts on the Shanghai fines?
I think it loops back into kind of my thoughts around the other issues, which is that Big Brother's watching. There's very clearly a zero strike, no tolerance policy. The team jumped ahead of it, both the players and they put some punishment in on the coach for even like allowing it to happen. A lot of these players are very, very young. Just know ahead of time, there's no slap on the wrist. If you do absolutely anything that could be remotely out of line for Blizzard, they're going to come down on you because they need to make sure that this league looks really, really tight, really professional, and that nothing that the pro players are doing is going to be something that people can point to as a reason for why the competitive ladder is bad.
Good point. Definitely all circles back to Blizzard protecting their very important assets.
Yeah, they're protecting their money, and they're very smart to do so.
For sure. Asmith, what's the lowdown on the Shanghai?
This is so stupid. And here's why. Because A, it wasn't seen on stream, so nobody knows. But the only reason they knew was because one person walked in, their coach or whoever walked in and saw it. And what happened was, if you actually read into the story, the person played on another account because he couldn't actually queue with the person, which is a problem in and of itself because they obviously are the same skill level. So it points to how bad the ladder system is because obviously two players of the same skill aren't on the same level, and so they can't queue with each other. And they played for 2 games, not on stream. I think it was dumb. Sure, they should have said, hey, don't do that. But other than that, fining them and the team leader for not being there and seeing it, that's super excessive. I think it just points to bad things. I think it's just dumb.
Interesting take on that one. Thorn, wrap it up.
Oh, man. Here we go. I gotta completely disagree with Asmith here.
Okay.
They needed to fine him, which was good. Because at the end of the day, we're not talking OWL rules here. We're talking Blizzard, like, terms of service across their games. Like, you're not allowed to share your accounts. That's stuff that gets accounts shut down. Like, they're lucky that the accounts didn't get shut down because it breaks the rules that you agree to when you install the game. So
none of us here have ever done that.
No, I don't know what you're talking about,
Bob. So
never.
I have no Smurf.
So the fine is good. I'm glad that the team jumped out ahead of it and fined the players. Now, I do not agree with the coach being fined because the coach, in the article, it clearly states that this was during leisure time. So the coach at that time isn't on duty to make sure that they're fully doing everything that they need to do. Coach could have been going and getting a snack. He walks in and he sees it and he puts a stop to it. So now you have a coach who reported an issue, stopped the issue, but then he gets in trouble and loses out his bonus. That's going to make the coach not want to report something that doesn't have any substance to it, like there was no stream evidence. So now, next time, coach might just say, don't let anybody see you. That was the complete wrong thing to do, was to find the coach. Find the 2 players.
It was because it was stupid.
Yeah, I agree. It's like wrong thing to find the coach. I think that the reason the players aren't getting banned is because, like, a part of that is because they came out and owned up to it. Right? Like, the fine works out to like $450 player. They're each making 6-figure salaries. Like, it's not gonna put that big of a dent in their pocket. But finding a coach is just weird because, like you said, he like noticed the thing on his off time and put a stop to it and still loses his bonus. They didn't report what the bonus is, so who knows? But
I think the culture is just completely different. So I think they put a lot more responsibility on the coach than we would typically hear.
But that'd be like me getting fired as a boss when my employee off the clock gets drunk and cusses somebody out. Like, it's just something that shouldn't happen, like, in any business, especially if the boss takes care of the issue. Like, I don't know. Being a former boss, it kind of annoys me.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, I think we all in some ways agree that there needed to be something done, and that the players and the coach did the right thing by owning up to it and coming out to it. It just seems like there was a little bit of a disconnect in terms of the actual punishment that was laid out and how it was laid out. So definitely an interesting one. I think, we've kind of seen that Blizzard is erring on the side of over-punish than under-punish on a lot of these things, because they do need to protect their assets and all that good stuff. So, but let's move right along. We've got now the third round. This is going to be the buy or sell round, but let's cue the sound effect first.
The payload is approaching its destination.
We are, in fact, approaching the destination of the payload. So I did a lot of work on these sound effects. Buy or sell, Thorn, the amount of EU teams in Overwatch League right now?
Sell. I think there needs to be, at a minimum, next season, 3 more. I see you, I carry them. Don't come at me on Discord, buddy. There needs to be more. There's a lot of players right now that got in from EU, but definitely more teams.
Gotcha. Asmith, buy or sell?
I gotta sell it. I mean, you've got to have more teams than that. But the only reason was because the owners didn't buy in. So it's not really Blizzard's fault.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Taco?
Also sell. I have a slightly different take. Other people did try to buy in and didn't get them. They're going to add another 12 teams for season 2 if they can. They're 10 to 12. We're going to at least see a Paris team, but they need to add a lot more teams in the EU. Part of the reason for that is that as this league grows, they're probably going to do season 2 in LA as well. But as they look to season 3 and 4, they try to actually co-locate these teams and schedule all of these logistics, which is the hardest part of a global league. They're going to need more representation in the EU so that the fans and players in the EU don't get shafted like the London fans are going to for season 1. They're not going to be able to watch the game. They're going to have to watch VODs afterwards when they wake up in the morning. There needs to be more representation for the fans and for the players in the EU so they don't get shafted on times. But also, just if they really want to be a global league, it can't be a US league that has like a small handful of random teams throughout the world, like 80% US and then also everywhere else, kind of.
Yeah, for sure. Bob, what are your thoughts? Buy or sell on the number of EU teams we've seen?
Sell. That it just. Yeah, I don't have a point because everybody took them all.
Well, I feel bad for you, Bob, but not bad enough to not dock you points for that. We'll give you the first bad on this one. So, buy or sell, the desk talent and casters dressing casually for the preseason of Overwatch League. Buy or sell, Bob?
I'm going to sell this one, and the fashion was really bad for the casters. I've never seen so many top buttons buttoned in my life. And there were some loud shirts. I know the first night Uber wore this shirt that just yelled, "Hey!" And it was too much. And then if they weren't uptight, they were way too loose, way too many buttons undone and chest hair poking out. It just was too much.
Wait a second. Are you saying there were too many buttons undone and also too many buttons done up? Wait, what?
1 or 2 unbuttoned guys rule.
Okay. Taco, what are your thoughts on buttons? Are you buying or selling this?
I don't know if this is buying or selling. I don't care. I mean, I thought it was fun. I think this is one of the least important topics. Over time, Blizzard probably has an opinion that is whatever opinion will make them look the most professional. So they're going to want people to be dressed up more over time. But on the flip side of that, I thought the more box, less box, rising, falling caster to the point where off the screen was one of the single most entertaining memes of the preseason for me. And if they decided to say you know what, guys, keep doing what you're doing and make this entertaining, at the end of the day, they're going to attract viewers by being entertaining. And if that involves a little bit more of letting the casters be themselves, I don't think they crossed any lines. And I think they were very entertaining. At the end of the day, I think that's what's going to get viewers.
Definitely a lot of good points there, but you didn't actually pick buy or sell, so you're getting docked points and you're getting a shot.
Well, I didn't know which was buy and which was sell.
I didn't say it was going to make sense. I just said you had to somehow follow the strange Blevins logic. Hey, Smith, buy or sell?
I buy the casual looks. Let's be real, guys. This is esports. The players were wearing sweatpants. Sweatpants, okay? Let's be real. It's just as casual as we can be, okay? This is not suit and tie work. This is very casual. I think let the casters be what they want to be, okay? They wear whatever they want. I mean, as long as it's not, like, ridiculous, I think it's fine.
I'm wearing sweatpants right
now. I don't disagree with your overall point there, but comparing what they're wearing to the players doesn't hold up for any sport, right?
Yeah, I want to see. I want to see
the
football
casters.
But I mean, like, if you look at the NFL, the announcers are all wearing suits and ties, and like the players aren't. They're wearing, super pajama underwear, and they're running around in pads, like, because that's what they're supposed to be wearing.
Is they're at a desk and they're not wearing pants.
I hope so.
You know what? I think you bring up a good point, and I think that NFL casters should have to wear full pads from now on. Thorn, last word on a topic that I didn't think was going to get more than 5 seconds of time, but it's turned out to be the most entertaining one.
I have to sell. I think that's the right one. I didn't mind, like, the button-up shirts. Like, Europeans, they do weird things with fashion, like, whatever. But my issue was Mr. X and his I just rolled out of bed in a sweatshirt, like, I don't know what the hell that thing was. Excuse my language. I think there's a line between casual and way too casual. This is trying to be a professional league, look semi-professional. Business casual would be perfect. Sweat shirts, no, not at all.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I think with the exception of Bob not knowing if he wants too many buttons or not enough buttons, I think we all came to
one or two. That's it. Two.
Yeah, I think we're 50-50 on buy or sell, but we all have the same opinion.
Yeah. Well, I never said that any of the options are going to make sense. But moving on, we will. So the actual talent signed for the Overwatch League, we saw, like you said, Mr. X. We saw Hexagrams. We saw Uber. We saw we saw plenty of other people, but notably we didn't see Jay Kaplan or ZP. So Thorn, we'll start with you. Buy or sell on the talent that was lined up for the preseason?
Buy. I think all of the talent was great. It sucks that ZP and JCap wasn't there. But there was a lot of talent there. Like, you can only have so much. And I do know that they're adding a guy from, what is it, Call of Duty. I've never seen anything that he's done. Oh, CSGO, yeah. He may turn out great. Yeah, he may bring in more viewers. But I think that they're saving some of the talent, the desk talent. They're going to need people for contenders. They might get their contender slots. So we got to wait and see what contender season 2 brings.
For sure. Asmith, what are your thoughts? Buy or sell on the talent for the preseason?
So ZP is a staple of Overwatch since it began, and he's not there. That is a shame, and that Blizzard should feel bad about what they did for not hiring him on.
Shame.
I mean, ZP and Hex, you signed Hex and you didn't sign ZP. I love Mr. X and all, don't get me wrong, but he's been doing this half as long, and I think ZP seemed a lot more polished. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. I get you're hiring similar from CSGO, and he's going to bring in a fan base, but I mean, you're missing, and Jay Kaplan. I mean, come on, guys, we're missing, and why don't you just put him on the desk as analyst? Neither of them have been hired for OWL at all, and you're going to have more games, and you're going to need the talent to have breaks. Hire those two guys. It's crazy.
For sure. Taco, buy or sell the preseason?
I'm going to go with buy on their general strategy. And my reason for it is I think that casters and desk folks for this, other than like Doa and Monty and the folks that sign really high profile contracts, are one of the most churn and burn positions that gets on camera. They're going to be able to sign absolutely anybody they want to, and anybody that's not bringing in viewers or that's not really like resonating with the crowd, they can cut or phase out very, very easily. It's a lot easier to do that than to phase out teams, coaches, players. Like, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I would expect that we're going to see some of those other folks, if they want to be a part of this, pretty soon. I mean, I really think this is just a matter of getting as much talent as possible, as fast as possible, getting them up to speed. And, you know, much like you see in professional sports, the ones that don't do the best job will get replaced by the up-and-comers who are popular and who people want to see.
For sure, for sure. Bob, last word on the talent for the preseason, buy or sell?
I'm gonna buy. I enjoyed him quite a bit. It was a bummer that ZP wasn't there, but maybe he shouldn't have worn such loud shirts. You know what I mean? But in all seriousness, he still could get in, and he still could be there. They might have just wanted to try out something else. The larger that it gets, the more important it's going to be to have people with a lot of charisma that just bring crowds. And not say that ZP doesn't have that, but someone might have just wanted to try something new.
Yeah, sure. ZP has confirmed that he's not, though. He confirmed he's not in the first season around.
Wow, I did not know that. That is a bummer.
Yeah, there's he posted on Reddit about it.
Did he say whether or not he was approached or talked to them at all, or whether or not? Because not being in it and like, because, you know, if they approached him or he approached them and there was some kind of discussion, like, then him not being in it could not be a one-sided part. But if they never approached him, that looks a lot worse, right?
Yeah.
That's fair.
All I saw was Slasher, his tweets and going crazy, and I couldn't find anything from ZP. So I'd be interested to read that.
I forgot that Slasher existed. So, Bob, you get 2 points for reminding me of the existence of someone. But moving right along. Speaking of
Rip
He's not even in this game anymore.
Shots fired. I ain't even mad. I would give myself points if I put a counter for me, but I didn't. Moving right along. Boston Uprising was just far and away the lowest ranked team in our pre-preseason power rankings. Almost every single person had them at dead last, or at the very least in the bottom three. And then it seems like the general opinion is that maybe they're not as bad as we thought. So, Thornrain, we'll start with you. Buy or sell on the Boston Uprising after the preseason?
I'm going to have to buy that they are that bad. I mean, they had glimmers
so
of
you're
hope.
You're selling them.
selling.
Yeah. Selling the Boston Uprising. They are that bad.
They are that bad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see them. They had glimmers, like little flashes, but I think those flashes came on the end of the teams that they were playing misstepping.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, that doesn't make you good. That just means you got lucky.
Mm.
And I don't think they're going to get lucky enough to advance far enough up the standings to actually really matter to anybody.
Interesting. Bob, what are your thoughts on the Uprising? Are you buying or selling them?
I'm gonna sell. I don't think that they're gonna be. I don't like Robert Kraft.
I didn't think that Deathblow was in this episode, but apparently
I think though they probably will do better than you think, because if I know Robert Kraft, he will buy each one of them an aimbot.
So
very own aimbot.
So cheating has been called already, and Deathblow's not even on the first episode.
If anybody's gonna do it.
Asmith, what are your thoughts on Boston?
I'm going to buy Boston.
Ooh.
And that is, I think they're not as bad as everybody's calling them out. let's be real. Did you see Shanghai play? And Shanghai just did not look good. They had two good
Shanghai
players.
was dominating, remember, Thorn?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, let's be real. Florida didn't look good. There were teams that didn't look good, and I think you got highlights in Boston like Dream Casper, and you've got highlights in them like Note. Note looked really good. I mean, you're going to have Stryker was amazing too. You've got so many good players on that team. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. They may not make the playoffs, but they have a chance to contend for them, and I think people need to stop giving them so much crap.
Taco, last word. Buy or sell on Boston?
Sure, hard buy. I didn't bump them up in my power rankings in this last push, but I talked to Huck before all of the rosters got announced, and he talked a lot about trying to find coaches that were, this is gonna sound dumb, but good at coaching players, like really good at developing talent, as opposed to just like analyzing different like rosters and weaknesses, but really like making players better at playing, and players who are very coachable and wanted to get better and wanted to work hard. And I think they did that, and I think they're going to be. I mean, they looked slightly better than I thought they were going to in the preseason. They have a lot of players and coaches, all from a lot of different places. They have a lot, like a lot of other teams have at least a core couple players from somewhere. They are very scattered, but as the season progresses, I think they're going to get stronger and stronger. And I don't think that they make the playoffs this year, but I think they set themselves up to do really, really well with what they have and to have a solid foundation going into future seasons. So I'm a buy on the Boston Uprising.
Gotcha. Interesting. Got the full Monty for Boston as well, from hard buy to they will literally be cheating. So gotta love the diversity on Around the Payload. But moving along, so we got the announcement.
I like how you said you gotta love the diversity on Around the Payload, and you look at the 5 people here.
Hey, there's varying levels of beard on just remember it's
need
the
a
pilot,
buff
so.
to the beard.
Yeah, we need some nano boosted beard here. That's worth a point. Oh wait, I can't award myself points. But moving along, just got a couple more here. So we got the announcement that we're going to get a new form of currency in the game. I don't even remember what they're called. The tokens to buy the Overwatch League skins. So they're going to be you're going to have to either buy these tokens or maybe get them in game or get them from watching games. We don't really know, but it's going to be a separate currency used to buy the Overwatch League jersey skin combo, whatever you want to call them. So Bob, buy or sell the whole system as we know it?
I'm going to buy this as long as they are both rewards and purchasable. I think that they need to be moderately priced, and I think there needs to be a way to earn them without using money, because there's so many of them.
Good.
And especially, I would love to be able to earn them while watching streams.
Gotcha. Taco, thoughts on the new system?
Buy. I think Blizzard sees what's going on with loot boxes around the world and found an alternate way to approach this. That I agree that ideally they find some alternate ways other than buying them for fans to get them, but I mean, it seemed like a no-brainer to offer something like this, right? Like they certainly could not put them in boxes and like continue to just feed into that insanity. So, hats off to Blizzard. People will get the skins that they want. I think it's fine.
What do you mean? You mean Blizzard doesn't want to be like EA? Like what?
No one wants to be like EA. No one making games that's not a tiny shop somewhere that would give anything to be profitable wants to be like EA.
EA is literally the Robert Kraft of video games.
Yeah, that's actually an excellent comparison. Well,
Deathblow jumped out of the ether to give you 2 points for that one. But A. Smith, what are your thoughts on the new system?
You gotta buy it. I mean, it's not loot boxes, and that's a good thing. Now, like Bob said, you have to get rewards. Because it's gonna boost viewership, and you want to boost the viewership there. If you're not boosting viewership with these tokens, then I don't know why you're missing an opportunity to increase your viewership. And that should be the key thing for Blizzard. Obviously, they've got to get everything running, but it looks really smooth, and viewership needs to be up there. Did I say viewership enough? Because that's the key thing right there.
For sure. Thorn. Go ahead, Bob.
No, I just said hype. You're exactly right. The more people watching, the more hype that it's going to have.
For sure. Thorn, last word on the Overwatch League token system.
I'm probably going to lose points on this. I'm going to buy, but I'm going to be the only one on the panel that says there should not be a way that you earn them. These tokens are going to buy the skins that we know for a fact a portion of the money made from the skins goes back to the teams to go to the players. Like, this is literally the revenue source coming into the team. You don't go to an NFL game and as you walk in, they say, hey, here's a jersey. It doesn't happen. Like,
sometimes it does. Ladies' night, things of that sort.
But those are special one-off jerseys, and 9 times out of 10, the stuff washes off the second time you wash it.
Washing your jerseys for it.
You got to keep that stank on them.
Yeah. So lucky jersey.
Dry clean only.
The tokens should be bought for a moderate price. I don't think that you should be rewarded them for simply watching. That seems kind of counterintuitive to the idea of the token. The token is there to pay the players. I don't have much else to say other than we should only be able to buy them.
Interesting.
Yeah, but they're getting all of the revenue from lots of like regular jerseys. This is in-game stuff, you know.
But that's my point. If the viewership is going to come from not just Overwatch players, what good is an Overwatch token to someone who just says, oh, wow, this game's cool to watch. I'm going to watch it. I don't know how to play it. I don't want to play it, but it's fun to watch. Like, they earn a bunch of tokens that just sit there and burn away. There's no point.
It's an added bonus. I mean, that just makes too much sense. Why not? I mean, how many characters are there in the game? You've got that many jerseys. These tokens only buy for one character in the game's jersey. If you're a diehard fan, you're going to want to buy them all, or collectors.
No.
So, and it's got to be a percentage. We're not saying giving them free skins like crazy. I mean, it's got to be a tapered percentage.
And the players are making plenty. I mean, I do not feel bad. I feel bad for the community having to pay tons just to get these basically recolors.
Now, I'm not saying that there shouldn't be other ways. I'm a firm believer that if you buy a jersey, you should get one skin that comes with your jersey. You should get enough tokens to buy an in-game skin if you buy a jersey. It should be a 1-for-1.
Hey, Smith, I want to put you on the spot. Do the Dallas Fuel skins have Jack in the Box logos below the chest on the
They do not. They do not. I checked. Thank goodness they do not.
No, but Genji's throwing stars are French fries.
I want the Jack in the Box skin. That's what I want.
All right.
Dallas Fuel wins this season. They're going to Jack in the Box skin confirmed.
The Jack head.
You heard it here first.
It's going to be Reaper. Let's be real.
Okay, I'm cutting it off there. I didn't think that this was going to go off as much. You know, Thorn, I honestly didn't think that after you said you shouldn't be able to watch them that I was going to give you any points, but you got some back, so I got to give you credit. You did lose a bunch of points, but you also gained a lot back, so I'm definitely I don't know.
I'll take it.
It was a whirlwind of emotion through that, so that's good. Okay, we've got the last topic here before we determine the winner, and I just wanted to pause it here for a second to go over the scores. We've got Taco in the lead with 63, Asmith right behind him with 62, Blazin' Bob with 54, and Thorn Rain right behind with 53. So it's anyone's game. This is going to be the make or break question here. And Thorn, you're going to get the first shot at it. Sato for the Philadelphia Fusion was suspended for the first 3 stages of Overwatch League for account boosting in Korea beforehand. So buy or sell, was the punishment too much? Was it too little? What are the implications of this, etc.? What are your thoughts on it?
I'm going to go sell. He should have gotten a punishment. I think that the 3-stage punishment is a bit excessive for something that happened before he was actually in the league. But definitely, 1 stage and a $5,000 fine would have been fine. But let this guy play. I mean, that's what he's here for. He's here to play. And what happened in his past, happened in his past. But still punish him. Just, man, 3/4 of the season, that's a bit much.
Yeah, for sure. Asmith, what are your thoughts on the Sato ban?
It's whatever it is it sell? I guess that you're selling that. I mean, it's way That's too much. Joke. You can't post-date. You're post-dating a suspension. I mean, the dude. This was a long time before. He wasn't doing this while he got hired. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. Either don't hire him. Blizzard shouldn't have allowed him to be hired in the first place. Or, do something else, suspend his account beforehand when he was doing that. It doesn't make sense. I think even if you're going to you could do a small punishment, like a small suspension for like 5 games, but 30 games is ridiculous. I mean, as long as he's not getting paid, what is he doing?
Yeah, for sure. Taco, thoughts on the suspension?
Yeah, I'm going to flip the script and buy. But there's a reason to that. So I think everybody here agrees that the suspension seems really, really harsh. I think the whole Overwatch 4 writing staff thinks the punishment's really, really harsh. We've interviewed everybody, we've interviewed a whole bunch of people in Philly, talked to a lot of folks involved. Yes, it happened a while ago. Not everybody was super aware of it, including the league when he was trying out and getting brought on. But at the end of the day, what Blizzard is doing is this issue is significantly more serious to folks in Korea than it is to folks anywhere else, right? If you look at even there is pretty significant backlash on Reddit in the West, but it is nothing. It pales in comparison to the backlash from Korea. And what Blizzard is doing here is they are doing their best to reconcile fans from the West who are going to think that punishment for something that happened way before, for all of these reasons, you can look at everything as harsh, and people in Korea who think this person should never be allowed to compete in anything or get paid for Overwatch at all, ever, or should be banned from competing. They are protecting their fan base. Western fans will not stop watching because of this, and they're trying to hedge their bet on saying this is a harsh enough punishment that Korean fans will feel that it is justified and not think that the league is full of shit for not banning him further.
I'm sorry, but isn't he with an American team? I mean, you can't try to just fix the culture. I get you're trying to fix that, but only if you're going to do something like that, do it for a Korean team, not an American player. I don't.
Sure. Well, he's not an American player. He's playing for an American team, but you're talking about a significant chunk of their initial fan base is going to come from Korea, and those people could write the whole league off if they think that it's just like a boys' club, like they don't care, they don't take these things seriously, that the values of fans from Korea are less important than values of fans from the West, or the fact that they overlooked all of this until they signed him and then just decided to give him a slap on the wrist because, hey, it's not that big a deal. Like, they could lose a significant chunk of their viewers, their early stage viewership. Like, their marketing campaigns have barely kicked in for Overwatch League at all. They're doing almost nothing.
But that's Blizzard's
they need
fault.
those viewers. Sure.
That's Blizzard's fault. It's not the player's fault. You're punishing the player for something Blizzard screwed up on. That's not fair.
I'm not doing anything. Blizzard is punishing the player to protect their interests. Blizzard is punishing the player because they will ensure that they alienate less Korean fans. Other decisions they made, like, sure, you could look at like a cause-effect chain up and down, the timeline here, but what they did was, again, protecting their interests, protecting their viewership, protecting their fan base. Like, yeah, most people in Korea are probably not going to root for Philadelphia, but a lot of fans might write the whole league off as not worth paying attention to if things that are taken very, very seriously over there are just given a slap on the wrist.
and you would throw all credibility of the league out if you only suspended him for 1 week because he's on an American team, and then it comes out that somebody on a Korean team also was doing it, and then you suspend him for 3. Everybody, all fans at that point would look at the league like, really? You guys are just going to pick and choose and show favoritism on who you're going to suspend for 3 weeks and who you're going to suspend for 1? And as long as they keep their discipline, across the board for everyone the same, then it's fine. But you really couldn't, because he's playing for Fusion, discipline him less.
It was also their first public opportunity for discipline. So I think like that also came in where they definitely wanted to lay down the law, and they did. But I don't think we should overlook the Korean side. Sorry, go ahead, Bob.
For sure. Yeah, Bob, last words on the Sato ban.
I'm going to have to say this is a sell, and it's for a specific reason. You set a pretty big precedent for the amount of games you're going to suspend someone for doing something prior to joining the league. I am scared to guess how many players in the Overwatch League boosted before for different sites. I would bet that it could be a pretty significant chunk. And if all of that comes out and they get kicked, you're going to find yourself with a very small league. And it's, I think I'm going to go with Thorn. I would have done one stage if you're going to do anything at all. And I mean, honestly, he didn't do it while he was in the league. And I think that's when you can punish. But once again, it is Blizzard, and ultimately they can do whatever they want.
True. Papa Blizzard does get the last word on that. As sad and true as that may be. But that is going to be it for the first episode of Around the Payload. Let's take a look and tally up the scores. In dead last place, we had Blazing Bob with 61. And then in third place, we had Thorn with a remarkable 65 points. Definitely a roller coaster ride there. And it was such a dead heap at the end. But we had in second place, we had Asmith with 71. And our very first winner of Around the Payload, though many may argue that the pilot episode doesn't count, but we had Taco. Wow. Taco, you are our victor.
Play the music. Preseason doesn't matter.
Well done.
Yeah.
You have captured the objective. Preseason doesn't matter. Taco, the floor is yours. What do you get to sell out and do whatever you want?
Yeah, so first and foremost, all the people on here tonight, including the Blevins, are people that are creating content and commenting on the Overwatch League and spending their time trying to make things for the community. So please try to follow them on Twitter, find where their content is, and check it out, because everybody is super fantastic. What I work on, and Thorn is a part of this, is a website called overwatchscore.com. Check it out. We try and get news out every day we possibly can, sometimes multiple times a day. It's a site run by just a bunch of fans and volunteers. If you have any feedback or want to be a part of it, follow us at Overwatch Score on Twitter. Our DMs are open. If you have commentary, if you have like opinions, if you have thoughts, if you think that we do something dumb and think we should fix it, please DM us. We're literally a bunch of volunteers who are trying to make content for the community, which is everybody here. So if you're a fan of the community and your eyeballs and your balls are on this podcast right now, try to support these people, because they're putting in a lot of their free time and nobody's making money on this.
Definitely. And if it mattered, I'd give you a point for using the word earballs, but you already have been our victor. So I will close it out. I just first want to thank all of our guests on here, Blazing Bob, Taco, Asmith, and Thorn. Thank you all so much for being on the pilot episode of Around the Payload, which is brought to you by Highnoon Podcast. Guys, that's it. I know we can't hear you, but as you're listening to this in the future, give us all a round of applause. Give everyone here a round of applause. I don't even have a round of applause sound effect, but I'll have one for next episode. This
most
was
important miss.
The only miss I had for this episode. Let us know what you thought, guys. Honestly, this was way more fun than I was even expecting. I had a ton of fun doing this. I'm only mildly sweating from all the stuff I had to do behind the scenes, but it was super fun. Let us know what you liked. Let us know what you didn't like. Let us know what you'd like to see on the show, anything like that. Try to keep the like little minutia things off, because I know it's not perfect, okay? I know that. But that is going to be it, guys. All of the contact info for everyone on the show, so you can go follow them, is going to be in the show notes. You can check out everything that High Noon Podcast does over at highnoonpodcast.com. But that's going to be it. I don't have an outro for Around the Payload, so I'll just say thanks for watching, and tune in once the Overwatch League starts, because we're going to try to be doing this every week. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Wave, everybody wave away.
Good night, sweetheart.